This video is made possible by Bill Jacobs Volkswagen. Bill Jacobs is ready to get you behind the wheel of one of Germany's favorite automobiles. Browse their inventory online or visit them in person at their Naperville location.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2022 Volkswagen Taos. Up front is a 1.5 liter turbocharged inline 4, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this here Taos for a couple of reasons. Mostly because this is a brand new model for Volkswagen. It debuted in the summer of last year and has only been on the market for under a year. So let's see how this new little vehicle from the people's manufacturer stacks up. Before we get on with the rest of the video, if you guys would like to check out my blog, submit your own vehicle for review, or buy merchandise, you can check out my website, zackpradel.com. I promise you it's better than my hair right now. It'll be found in the description below. You can check out all of my stuff there. Or if you'd like to submit your car via email, pradelreviews@gmail.com. Again, that'll be in the description below. But let's get back to that 1.5 liter turbocharged inline 4 under the hood. It is a dual overhead cam 4-cylinder turbo, making 158 horsepower. Now, that's nothing crazy. My mind isn't being blown. I'm not being thrown back in my seat. But for a vehicle in this segment, in this price point, that's starting to become pretty average. It even has one more cylinder than the new Ford Bronco Sport. So, something exciting there. Fuel economy, 28 miles to the gallon in the city, which is good, but 36 miles to the gallon on the highway, which is fantastic for a vehicle of this size and in this segment, which is absolutely awesome. Like I said, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, it is Triptronic, so you can shift it if you would like. Volkswagen has used these transmissions for a long time, and they've always been good. I've always thought that Volkswagen's transmission game has always been up near the top, and that's true here in the Taos as well. Last but not least, this here particular SE Taos is front-wheel drive. However, you can also find a 4Motion, meaning it has all-wheel drive. Personally, I would pick the all-wheel drive model for the sole reason of where I am in the Midwest. It snowed pretty hard last night. It's starting to melt now, but 4-wheel drive will come in handy a couple times a year living in the Midwest, so that's something that I would want. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. We have plenty of new Volkswagen stuff to go through in here. Well, in front of me, I have a digital cluster. I love this digital screen. It's giving me my speed in the middle, coolant temperature down at the bottom left, fuel at the bottom right, and then of course I can customize it as well, which is what you're seeing. I love this. This feels very modern. And this being an SE is not the top trim level, and yet it still gets the nice digital gauges. Other brands like Kia reserve that digital screen for the top trim. You have to pay top dollar to get it, but here it comes standard, which is fantastic. It's very colorful, has great refresh rate, and I love it. Moving on to the steering wheel, on the left, I do have my cruise control option. And then on the right, I have my controls for that gauge cluster screen we just talked about, as well as skip track and other options like that. The steering wheel itself feels very nice. It is wrapped in leather, as well as it has the nice Volkswagen badge in the center. Somehow this feels like a nicer, more refined Volkswagen badge than in years past, but I can't pick out why. It's the same logo. To the left of me, I have my headlights, of course, set to auto and a vent. And on the door, I have lock and unlock, power mirrors, which are heated as well, power windows, and child locks. Moving into the center, I do have a little cutout on the dash for storage. It's not super deep, not super useful, but you do get one at least. And then we have the center display screen. So let's pull over and talk about it. All right, so let's talk Volkswagen infotainment here in the Taos. Now, right off the bat, I want to get it out there that I recently drove a 2022 Volkswagen Golf GTI, and I was pretty critical of the infotainment system. I thought it was kind of annoying to use. However, if we go here, this is actually a different system, or if it's the same system, it feels very different. This is a lot easier to use, and yet it's still very responsive. I can go to like vehicle here and look at all my stats and statistics. I do, of course, have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are both wireless here in the Taos, which is great. They're staying up with the times. And it does the thing where, hold on, when it goes away, it will actually sense when your hand is in front of it. And so watch the buttons. They sort of pop up when your hand comes up, and I wasn't even touching it. I do have some assist systems I can toggle on and off, and it gives me a little visualization of that, which is really, really cool. Legal notices, navigation, app connect, of course, that's for your cell phone and things like that. Nothing really too crazy in here. I will show the backup camera here really quick. There is the backup camera, and the lines, unfortunately, do not adjust when I do turn the steering wheel, but that's okay. And I only get this one single view. Now, my only issue here with this center radio is that it is a gloss black, and as you can see, I've only touched the menu buttons a few times for this video, and it's already smudged up, so just keep a microfiber in your car at all times. Off to the left and right of that screen, before we start moving down the center stack, I do get this blue finish piece for the dashboard. This is actually sort of a 2020s trend. The Kia Seltos had it as well, and I like it. It adds a nice little pop of color, little accent piece throughout the interior, and it's not a bold or brash color, so it doesn't catch my eye while I'm trying to focus on the road. Down below the center screen, I have 2 climate control vents and my hazard switch. Then I have some physical climate controls. I absolutely love these physical climate controls, something that the 2022 GTI does not get, which I love my physical climate controls. Very simple. I do have heated seats, which is really nice, but air conditioning, defrost, and where to send it. Very simple and basic climate controls. I unfortunately do not get dual zone climate, which is a little bit of a shame, but again, not the end of the world. And then moving down below, I do have 2 USB-C inputs, a 12-volt outlet, and a wireless charger. Again, for an SE, that's a very nice option. Coming around the shifter, we have our start-stop button in the traditional Volkswagen location, as well as I have my power parking brake, and the shifter itself looks very presentable, looks very nice. I'm very happy with it. It looks very modern, which I think is a big deal. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and unfortunately, unlike its GTI brother, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. The bottle doesn't sit all the way down in it, so unfortunately, it does not pass. Then I get a center console, which is tan on the inside, but that's pretty much it. And then I get the seats. The seats are cloth. Like I said, this is not a top trim of the Taos. However, they are heated, and the driver's seat is power. The passenger seat is manual. Volkswagen is pretty characteristic of doing this, but I'm the most important person in the car, so I get a power seat that's also heated, which I pleasantly enjoy. But the interesting thing and the more important thing than the front seats are the back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. So we're in the back of the 2022 Taos, and honestly, sitting up straight, I have so much room back here, a really impressive amount of room. My knees have probably that much room back here, which is a lot of room. My head is not hitting the ceiling. Let me mount my microphone properly. My head isn't hitting the ceiling. My knees aren't hitting the seat in front of me. The seats themselves are a little bit basic. However, not the end of the world, of course, for a vehicle like this. They have a little pull-out cup holder right here, and I get a USB-C charger down below. At the end of the day, this is a very comfortable back seat. I would feel totally fine sitting back here for a road trip or anything shorter than that, you know. I really like it back here, and I'm very, very impressed with that too. I was expecting the Taos to be a lot smaller than it is. I don't know why I had this in my mind that this was a tiny little compact when it's really not. And so the space back here really emphasizes that fact. Speaking of which, let's go take a quick look at the cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so around the back of the Taos. And of course, this is a dealership car. The ice is falling off. Here, for my male audience. There you go. Tons and tons of space back here. I like how low it is and how much height you actually get. However, I am not seeing a 12-volt outlet. I would have liked to have seen a 12-volt outlet, but that is okay. Of course, we have the Volkswagen roadside assistance kit and a bunch of other storage and options you can get from the dealership. However, these seats do fold down, and then you're gonna have as much space as Montana. So a great, great rear storage area and cargo space in the Taos. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I think this is really starting to grow on me. When I first saw one on the road, I thought that someone put a Tiguan into a copy machine and set it to 75%. And honestly, it's not far off from what it is, but I really like the styling of it. I think it's very angular. I think it's very modern. I think it has definitely stepped away from like the mid-2000s blobbiness, of which some car manufacturers still stick with. This is nice and angular. It looks modern, it looks fresh, although it's not overstated, which I think is very important. That being said, contrary to its GTI brother, I actually really like the Taos position in the middle of the tailgate on the back. The reason I didn't like it on the GTI was because there was no license plate to break it up, and it sort of was floating out in the middle of nowhere. But this, with the license plate holder right there, it looks really nice and it looks really presentable. And so, with that being said, let's get to my final thoughts here on the 2022 Volkswagen Taos. Well, I really like this car. I really, really do. I think for the segment it's breaking into, I think it checks all the boxes. It's comfortable, it looks good, the power is adequate. 158 horsepower out of that little Turbo 4. It's fine. You're going to be able to pass people. You're going to be able to go on highway on-ramps and not fear. I like it. But I think the biggest thing of all, the biggest surprise of the Taos was that infotainment system is a lot easier to use than the GTI's system, at least from a standpoint of me only using it for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. I think overall this is a really well put together SUV. And so people always talk about how the SUV segment is so saturated with vehicles, but I don't see that as being an issue. I think if people want SUVs, they should have as many choices as they would like. And so the Taos coming to the table here, kind of later in the game, I don't think is an issue. You know what Volkswagen did with this? They made me excited for a new little SUV. When I first saw a Taos, I remember I was driving on the Kennedy Expressway towards Chicago, and I saw an electric blue, I believe it's actually cornflower blue Taos. And I remember I saw the Taos name on the back, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I sped up a little bit, a reasonable amount, to catch up to see what the heck it was, and I was excited to see and learn about something new. And so when I woke up this morning, and actually I had a dream about this car last night, I was excited to get in my car in this freezing cold slush weather and drive far from my home to drive the Taos. I was very curious to see what it is, and honestly, this has checked all the boxes. I think my favorite thing overall is just how modern the Taos feels. It doesn't feel like they just grabbed things from their parts bin to chuck together some SUV. It actually feels thought out, and I have to say I really like it. I really, really do. Huge thank you to Bill Jacobs Volkswagen in Naperville for letting me take out their Taos. I am super excited to be starting to work with the Bill Jacobs group. They have tons of dealerships, BMW, Mini, Range Rover, and Current, which is actually for electric vehicles, but Volkswagen is their bread and butter, and I'm so excited to be driving more Volkswagens and bringing you guys such cool vehicles. If you go into their Naperville store, they also have an old Beetle on display that you can walk around and admire at, and in my case, oogle over. So they are absolutely awesome. Their staff has been really, really cool and fun to work with, and I think there's a reason that people keep coming back to Bill Jacobs time and time again. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.